I used to spend 20 minutes teasing my roots every single morning, and my hair still looked flatter by lunch than when I started. Nobody warned me that most of what we're taught about styling thin hair actually makes it look thinner. Today I'm walking you through 4 simple steps that flip the script completely. The order you do things in, the products you're probably layering on wrong, and the one drying habit that's been working against you this whole time. I researched the worst styling mistakes and the real fixes for women over 50, so you get results that actually hold, not just look good for an hour. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, do it now. I cover this every single week. Part 1. The washing mistake that's flattening your roots. Here's something that surprised me the first time a stylist told me. Washing your hair every single day is actually one of the worst things you can do for thin hair, even though it feels like the responsible thing to do. Overwashing strips the small amount of natural oil your scalp produces, and thin hair depends on that oil more than thick hair does. It's what gives each strand a little bit of weight and grip at the root. Without it, hair goes limp within hours, so you wash again, and the cycle just keeps flattening you out. If you're someone who showers every morning and can't imagine skipping a day because your hair gets so oily, I want you to actually sit with that for a second. That oiliness might be your scalp overcorrecting for how often you're stripping it, not a sign you need to wash more. The fix is what stylists call training your scalp. And it's simpler than it sounds. You stretch your wash days out gradually, not overnight, not from daily to twice a week in one leap, but by adding a single extra day between washes every week or so. If you're washing daily now, go to every other day for a week. Then push to every 3rd day. Your scalp adjusts its oil production down to match, usually within 3 to 4 weeks. In between washes, you're not just leaving it. You're using a dry shampoo formulated specifically for fine hair. Applied at the root the night before so it has time to absorb excess oil without leaving that chalky, powdery look thin hair shows so easily. Ask your stylist for a volumizing dry shampoo by name, because the regular kind is often too heavy and weighs fine strands down even further. What actually changes when you do this is remarkable, and it's not just about volume. It's about how your whole style holds through the day. Hair that isn't stripped of its natural oil every morning has more elasticity, which means the root lift you create with your blow dryer or your styling brush actually stays lifted instead of collapsing by noon. Women tell me they thought they needed a stronger mousse or a bigger round brush, when really the problem was that they were starting from a scalp that had nothing left to hold on to. Once your scalp finds its natural rhythm, you're not fighting flatness all day. You're just maintaining a lift that's already built in from how healthy your roots are. I remember a woman in one of my comment sections telling me she'd washed her hair every single morning for over 40 years without missing a day, convinced her hair was simply an oily type that couldn't be helped. She stretched it out over 6 weeks, 1 extra day at a time, and by the end she said her hairdresser asked what product she'd started using, because the volume at the crown looked noticeably different, and she hadn't touched a single new product. That's the part people don't expect. The biggest volume change often comes from doing less, not adding more. So here's the swap in plain terms. Before, washing daily, stripping natural oil, roots flattening by early afternoon no matter how much you tease or spray. After, washing every 2nd or 3rd day, scalp oil regulating itself, roots holding lift for hours longer with the same amount of effort. That single change is the foundation everything else in this video builds on, because none of the next 3 steps work as well on a scalp that's constantly being reset to 0. Now once your washing rhythm is sorted, there's a second mistake almost everyone with thin hair makes at the sink itself. And it has nothing to do with how often you wash, but everything to do with what you're putting on your hair while you're in there. Part 2. The product layering order nobody explains. Most women with thin hair own the right products. That part isn't the problem. The problem is almost nobody tells you that the order you apply them in matters just as much as which ones you buy, and getting that order wrong can cancel out everything you're trying to achieve. A heavy conditioner applied at the roots, a volumizing mousse put on over damp hair that's already weighed down, a texture spray added last when it needed to go on first. Each of these individually seems harmless, but stacked together they're often the exact reason your blowout falls flat by noon even though you did everything right. The fix stylists actually use follows a strict sequence, and once you know it, it becomes second nature. First, conditioner goes only from mid-length to ends. Never anywhere near the scalp, because even a lightweight conditioner at the root coats fine strands and pulls them flat before you've even picked up a brush. Second, while hair is still damp, a volumizing mousse about the size of a golf ball goes through the roots specifically, worked in with fingertips rather than a comb, because combing at this stage distributes the product evenly instead of concentrating it where you need lift. Third, you rough dry upside down for the first few minutes, just tipping your head forward while you start the blow dryer, which lets gravity work in your favor instead of against you. Fourth and last, once hair is fully dry and styled, a light texture spray or dry finishing spray goes on at the mid-lengths only, never the roots, to add grip without adding weight back in. Here's the part that actually changes how people see you. When the order is right, the volume you build during styling doesn't just look bigger for a photo. It holds structurally, because you've layered lightweight product at the root and left the weightier finishing product for the ends, which is exactly the opposite of how most of us learned to do it decades ago. That structural hold is what reads as healthy, full hair to someone looking at you across a room, rather than hair that was clearly done for an hour and has since deflated. People stop asking if you got a haircut and start asking what you're using differently, because the change looks like health, not effort. A woman at my last in-person event told me she'd been applying her volumizing mousse to already dry hair for years, right before heading out the door, wondering why it never seemed to do much beyond making her hair feel slightly stiff. When I explained mousse needs damp hair to distribute and activate properly, she said it was like being told a recipe step she'd been skipping her entire life. She wrote back 3 weeks later saying her hairdresser complimented her root volume without her mentioning she'd changed anything at all. The specific swap here is this. Before, conditioner at the scalp weighing down roots, mousse applied to dry hair with no chance to distribute, texture spray added at the root and adding grease rather than grip. After, conditioner kept strictly to the ends, mousse worked into damp roots with fingertips, texture spray reserved for dry mid-lengths only. Small reordering, completely different result by the end of the day. Getting the products right solves half the battle. But there's a drying habit almost every woman I talk to still does out of pure muscle memory, and it's quietly working against every ounce of volume you just built. Part 3. The drying habit that's undoing your volume. Most of us learn to dry our hair the same way we've always dried it. Pointing the dryer down at the roots from close range, moving fast, trying to get it over with. It feels efficient. But for thin hair specifically, that habit is one of the quietest ways to lose the volume you just spent 10 minutes building with product. Blasting hot air straight down onto damp roots pushes the hair shaft flat against the scalp before it's had a chance to set in an upward position. So even though the hair dries, it dries in the flattest possible shape. The fix is a technique stylists call directional drying. And the idea is simple. You dry the roots in the opposite direction they naturally fall, holding sections up and away from the scalp rather than pressing the dryer straight down onto them. Take small sections at the crown, lift each one straight up with your fingers, and direct the airflow underneath and against the direction of growth for a few seconds before letting it fall. This trains the hair shaft to dry with a slight upward bend right at the root, which is exactly the shape that creates lasting lift. It takes maybe 2 extra minutes total, sectioned across the whole crown area. And it makes a bigger visual difference than almost any product change you could make. What this actually changes is how your hair reads from a distance, which is how most people actually see you. Across a dinner table, in a photo, walking into a room. Hair with root lift built in through directional drying reads as fuller and healthier even at the exact same length and density as before, because volume at the crown is the single biggest visual signal of hair health our eyes pick up on. You're not adding hair. You're just finally letting the hair you have sit in the position that shows it off, instead of the position gravity and old habits have been forcing it into for years. I heard from a woman who told me she'd been drying her hair the same rushed way for over 30 years, dryer pointed straight down, finished in under 5 minutes flat every single morning. She tried directional drying for 1 week, expecting almost nothing, and said the difference at her crown by day 3 was visible enough that her husband asked if she'd gotten a different haircut. Nothing had changed except the angle she held the dryer at, and the 2 extra minutes she gave the roots to set. Here's the swap laid out plainly. Before, dryer pointed straight down at damp roots, hair drying flat against the scalp, volume gone within the hour no matter how much product went in beforehand. After, Roots lifted and dried at an angle against the fall of the hair, shafts set with a built-in upward bend, volume holding for hours because the shape was set correctly from the start rather than fought after the fact. Once your roots are drying in the right direction, there's one final step most women skip entirely, and it's the one that actually locks everything we've covered so far into place for the rest of the day. Part 4. The finishing step that locks in your volume. Here's the part that genuinely surprised me when a stylist first explained it. Most women stop the styling process the moment their hair looks good, right after the dryer or the curling iron comes off. And that's precisely the moment thin hair is most vulnerable to falling flat again. Fine strands don't hold a set shape well on their own. They need something to lock that shape in place before they're exposed to humidity, movement, or just the ordinary business of a day. And skipping this last step is why a style that looked full at 9 in the morning looks tired by noon. The fix is a 2-second habit called the cool shot lock. Once your hair is fully dry and styled the way you want it, most blow dryers have a small button, usually blue, that switches the airflow from hot to cool without turning the dryer off. You run that cool air over your finished style for about 10 to 15 seconds, focusing on the roots and crown where you built your lift. The cool air closes the hair cuticle and essentially sets the shape the same way cold water sets a curl, locking in whatever bend or lift you created with heat before it has a chance to relax back to flat. Immediately after that, a light hold alcohol-free finishing spray, not a heavy hairspray, just a fine flexible mist, goes over the crown only, held about 10 inches away so it falls as a light veil rather than a heavy coat. What this last step actually buys you is time. And time is the thing thin hair struggles with most. A style that would normally start collapsing within an hour or two, once it's cool shot and lightly misted, tends to hold its shape for most of the day, through errands, through lunch with friends, through whatever your afternoon actually looks like. This is the difference between a style that only exists for a photo right after you finish styling, and a style that's actually still there when someone sees you in person later. It's the step that turns a good morning result into something that reads as effortless, all-day volume, rather than something that clearly needed constant touch-ups. A woman who wrote to me after trying all 4 steps together said the cool shot habit was the one she almost skipped because it felt like an unnecessary extra step at the end of an already long routine. She said she tried it anyway on a whim before a full day of errands, and for the first time in years, her hair still looked done when she got home that evening instead of falling flat by mid-morning like it always had. She said it was the smallest change of everything she'd tried, and somehow the one that mattered most. Here's the final swap. Before, finishing the style and walking straight out the door, heat set shape relaxing back to flat within an hour or two, style needing a full redo by afternoon. After, a 15-second cool shot at the roots followed by a light flexible mist at the crown only, shape locked in place, volume still visible hours later without a single touch-up. Put all 4 of these together, and you've got a completely different routine than the one you started with this morning. One that actually works with thin hair instead of fighting it every single day. So now you know the 4 things actually holding your volume back. Overwashing that strips the oil your roots need, product going on in the wrong order, drying straight down instead of against the fall, and skipping that cool shot lock at the very end. None of it requires new hair or a different cut, just a different routine, and you already have everything you need to start tonight. Tell me in the comments which one of these 4 you didn't know about. I read every single one. Next week I'm covering the haircut mistakes that make thin hair look even thinner, so you'll want to be here for that. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.